Morning, everybody. Can you go down just a little bit? Wow, that was easy. It's never that easy. Good morning again, and TGIF. And what a beautiful day in East Tennessee. The leaves are changing, the fall crispness is in the air, so we're very fortunate and thankful to be here today. And again, welcome. My name is Tom Segelhorst. I'm in the HR department at Cardinal Glass Industries in Churchill, Tennessee. I am the Government Relations Chair for Kingsport Chamber for 2025. So my real boss is Nicole, and she's been on me for 10 minutes to get up here and get this thing started. And I was too busy, I was eating. You can see I do that quite well. So again, thank you all for being here. I think we would all agree that the city is moving in a great direction. There's a lot of great initiatives going, and today the folks from the city are here to share a lot of those great initiatives and give us a little bit of a look back in 2025. So we've got a lot of things to be proud of in this city, and I hope you all get to hear some of the things today. I'd like to take a moment to thank our sponsors. For if it weren't for them, we probably wouldn't be having this meeting. So pardon me as I read. I don't want to forget anybody. Appalachian Power, AT&T, Ballad Health, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Tennessee, Bowery Insurance, Bright Ridge, Cardinal Glass, Charter Communications, Domtar, D.R. Horton, Eastman Chemical, Eastman Credit Union, and our associate sponsors are Horizon Credit Union and Tri-Cities Military Affairs Council. I'd also like to recognize Greg Perdue, who's the Tri-Cities Market President for First Horizon Bank, and he's also your 2025 Kingsport Chamber Chair. Where you at, Greg? There you are. All right. I promised him he'd get to be recognized, so he asked me out in the hall if I'd recognize him. That is not true at all. When I told him out in the hall he was going to be recognized, he said, I don't have to say anything, do I? So that is true. Today we're fortunate to have Mayor Paul Montgomery, along with City Manager Chris McCart, along with other members of the BMA. I see Daryl Duncan, I see Colette, I see Gary Mays. About called you Brad, I'm sorry. Brad's his son. That was my son's age, and we spent a lot of time on ball fields together. Are there anyone else? Is there anyone else here? Okay. Commission members from both Hawkins or Sullivan County. I saw a few I know from Sullivan County. What a slip. Zane Vanover. It was accidental. It was accidental. Sam Jones. Who else? That it? Okay. Board of Education members from Sullivan County and Kingsport. I saw Dr. Hampton here, although he's not a Board of Education members. Any board members? And a lot of city staff people. I see a table full of city staff people back here. So again, thank you all of you, for everything that you do, because it's a thankless job, believe it or not. You get a lot of nasty phone calls. You get very few praising phone calls. So thank you. Kingsport is known for its pride in our community and our Kingsport spirit. We're grateful to live in a place like we do. Okay. Another commissioner just walked in. We all agree that we have a great place to live, work, and play. And a lot of that is because of the quality of life initiatives that the city of Kingsport has been fostering for many, many years under a lot of good leaders. So thank you all for what you do for that. And as I mentioned earlier, Mayor Montgomery, City Manager McCart will be up here and giving us some highlights and a look forward into 2026. But before we begin the program, I'd like to welcome to the podium former Alderman Larry Muncy, who I consider a good friend, and Larry was one of them that convinced me to run back in, I guess it was 2011. Angie Marshall, who is a city employee, who will come up. Jaya Van Sheath and Gigi Balcoa will come up and lead us, along with the Mayor's Youth Council, in the Pledge of Allegiance. So Larry will give the invocation this morning. Angie will sing the national anthem, and the Mayor's Youth Council will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Larry, you need a microphone? Okay.
You know, being a member of the Board of Mayor and Aldermen for 9.5 years, well, really 11.5 years, because much of it was during the time that Jeanette was the mayor, because I was the vice mayor in much of that time. But being on the BMA and then being associated with the Chamber for something like 50 years, it's a great privilege to be here this morning, and I so much thank you, Tom. So let's have an invocation and a word of prayer for our food this morning, okay? Father, we love you so much. Lord, we pray that you will be with us as we meet today, as we represent this city. We pray that you will bless us in all that we strive to do to make this a better place to live. Father, we pray that you will bless this food, that you will go with us, and we thank you for a great nation that we live in. And we're thankful for all of these people who love that country and who do everything they can to make it a better place to live. Go with us now and bless this food, for we pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Larry. Please welcome Angie Marshall.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
I sure wish I could sing like that and give a blessing like Larry did. So thank you both. I now welcome the Mayor's Youth Council to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I think this in and itself is pretty exciting to have a youth council that works directly with the mayor in helping improving our city. So thank you all for what you do and the time you spend doing it. So, the time you all been waiting for. It's my privilege and honor to introduce Mayor Paul Montgomery. Mayor Montgomery is a graduate of King University with a Bachelor of Arts degree and a Master's in Business Administration. Mayor Montgomery spent over 22 years with Eastman Chemical Company, where he retired as Vice President of Community and Corporate Relations. Other work experiences include Christian Medical and Dental Services in their national headquarters, which is located in Bristol. He was the Senior Director for Legacy Planning there. Northeast State Community College, Texas Instruments, and the Kingsport Press. Paul is both a servant leader and a community steward. In addition to his time on the BMA, he serves on multiple boards and is also a previous Kingsport Chamber Board where he has been honored as a lifetime member. So thank you, Paul, for that. Paul was elected as an alderman in 2021 and served in that capacity until he was elected as mayor in August of 2024. Please welcome to the stage Mayor Paul Montgomery. And Paul, thank you for all that you're doing. You're doing a great job.
Thank you, Tom, and also my neighbor. Good morning, friends, neighbors, and fellow citizens of Kingsport. Before I begin our State of the City address, I want to acknowledge the passing of two great city leaders, Tommy Alderman and Michael Neal. This is not only a great loss for the respective families, but it is a profound loss for our city. Let's remember the families in our thoughts and prayers. We are forever grateful for their service as aldermen of this city. If you would, please bow with me in a moment of silence. Lord, we are thankful for the service and dedication of Tommy and Mike. We ask you to continue comforting their families in their time of bereavement and give them peace through your Son, Jesus Christ. We ask you to bless their memory in our hearts. Let us continue to remember their legacy through our actions as we support our city through thoughtful and prudent leadership. In your blessed Son's name, we pray. Amen. It is an honor for me to stand before you today to open up the 2025 State of the City address. As your mayor, I am proud to report the state of our city is strong, driven by the Kingsport spirit, and united by a shared vision for a brighter future. Over the past year, Kingsport has continued to grow, not just in population, but in opportunity, resilience, and community spirit. We see new businesses open their doors, new families plant their roots, new partnerships form across public and private sectors. Our economy is stable and expanding, with job growth in several sectors of our community. We've made significant investments in infrastructure, public safety, and education. From improving our roads and utilities to supporting our first responders and enhancing our school system. We are building a city that works for everyone, today and generations to come. Our downtown continues to thrive as a hub of culture, commerce, and community. With the support of local entrepreneurs and artists, we've revitalized spaces, hosted events that has brought in thousands together, and celebrate the unique character that makes Kingsport feel like home. But our progress is not just measured in numbers or buildings. It is measured in people, in the volunteers who give their time, the teachers who inspire our children, the small business owners who take risk, and the families who believe in the promise of this city. We also face challenges, like every other community, but we face them together with determination and compassion. Whether it's addressing housing needs, expanding access to mental health services, or ensuring that every neighborhood feels valued and heard. We're committing to doing the hard work of building a more inclusive Kingsport. Looking ahead, our priorities remain clear. Smart growth that preserves our heritage by embracing innovation. Sustainable development that protects our natural beauty and resources. Stronger partnerships with regional leaders, businesses, and nonprofits. And above all, a continued focus on people-first policies that uplift every resident. Kingsport is fortunate to have 7 people and a city senior leadership staff who get up every day thinking about how we can make Kingsport a better place. Last year, I began talking about the board and how talented this board is. And I'm certain we have room for improvement. However, we want to make this city the best city possible. Just think, since last October, we've had 16 restaurants have opened. And by year end, it's projected that we'll have 11 more to add to this number. And I'm making this statement not just trying to take credit for the BMA and for the city staff leadership, but it is indicative for all of us, the city staff, the chamber members, and the taxpayers who have provided the environment for development. Together, we are writing the next chapter of the Kingsport story. Thank you for your trust, your support, and your love for this city. The best is yet to come. And speaking of the best yet to come, please welcome to this platform our city manager, Chris McCart. God bless you. God bless the city of Kingsport. Thank you.
And what I love about Kingsport, I guess mainly, are the people. It's like going back in time. I mean, everybody is so friendly.
I love the people. And specifically, I love how committed Kingsport people are to Kingsport, to the community.
The common thread that weaves in throughout most all of us is a sense of community, a sense of giving and caring and loving.
And to me, just that's the kind of people that you see in Kingsport, the ones that are willing to reach out and help whatever the need is.
I'm Jess Williams, and I love this place.
My name's Greg Perdue, and I love this place.
My name is Corey James, and I love this place.
I'm David Douthit, and I love this place.
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 We love this place! I love this place! I love this place!
We love this place!
This is Kingsport, and we love this place.
I probably should just stop right there. Appreciate you being here. Have a great weekend. This is a preview of a new campaign that we are starting with our communications department. Walking through City Hall several months back, I came up on, I think, the 4th or 5th floor, and in the hallway, there's some artwork with some old t-shirts that we have framed from campaigns in the past, and one of those was, I love this place. Many of you all remember Peggy Turner. Peggy had this campaign where she recognized folks in downtown for the great achievements they would do or things that would promote downtown. And I thought to myself, we need to bring that back with a little different twist. We need to come back and look at how do we provide the positivity that we know exists within this community. In fact, we know and believe that it is overwhelming positivity, and push that out in order to combat the negativity that seems to be everywhere today. So beginning this month, we're going to be launching these videos. You'll see these regularly on our social media channels. If you want to participate in one of these, please feel free to reach out either to myself or our communications team and talk to them about how you or your company can take part in this. Well, I will tell you, it is good to be here. Last year, I made it to about this table right here, and the reality was that I probably wasn't going to be making it much further than that. And you can always count on your family to tell you exactly what you probably don't want to hear but need to hear. My daughter, who's sitting over here, sat down next to me and she said, "Dad, you look horrible." I handed my speech to Ryan, who instilled further confidence in me by stating, well, one or two things is probably going to happen. Either this is going to go really well, or we're both going to get fired. I said thank you and made my way back to the house. Coming in today, I've had more people ask me how I was doing, ask me if I was feeling good. I'm okay. So hopefully we can get through this. It's an honor to be your city manager. It's an honor to be here. And as the mayor said, the state of your city is great. We have a lot of wonderful things happening here. We have things happening in the city of Kingsport that other cities wish they could talk about over the course of a decade, and we're going to try to cram that into the next 30 minutes. And I'm serious when I make that statement. There are a lot of positive things happening within your city, many things for which you should be proud of. Today, we're going to talk to you a little bit about our financials. We'll walk through some of the decisions that led to the fiscal 26 budget. We'll talk about the Kingsport spirit that the mayor reflected on and how that is reflected within our workforce. We'll bring you up to speed on our new strategic plan. We'll talk about some of the projects that we have going on, and then we'll look out onto the horizon, some of the projects that you're going to see come to fruition over the next couple of years. So a snapshot of our budget. When you look at this, this is a really healthy report card in some ways, and in some ways it's an area that there are areas that need improvement. Our fund balance continues to be strong. Our property tax is still reeling from the impact of the ratio appraisal, which we'll talk about later. The sales tax is plateaued, but I can tell you the fourth quarter of our fiscal year was strong. And in addition to that, the 2 months in our fiscal year that we've collected thus far have also been strong. Our bond rating, which is our report card from Wall Street, continues to be very favorable. Our debt limit is well below the 10% self-imposed limit we have, and we continue to be recognized on a national level for the work that we do in the preparation of our budget as well as within our audit. So let's dive into the financials. This is really a tale of two stories here. When you look at fiscal 20, 21, 22, these are very solid years. The blue line represents the revenue coming in. The red line represents the expenses that are going out. Revenue exceeds expenditures. That also has a positive impact on the green line you see running across the bottom. That means our cash on hand, our fund balance is going in a positive direction. It also means that we're able to put more money back towards capital projects, so cash for capital and less reliance on debt. Both improving the fund balance and having cash for capital have been priorities for this city for many, many years, even before I became city manager. We've strived to set our budget up to really be more of a reflection of what you saw within those first 3 years there. Then you have the second half, 23, 24, and 25. You have the impact of a ratio appraisal that seemingly overnight knocks $3.8 million out of your budget. At the same time, inflation has caught up with us. We are seeing and experiencing the exact same things that you experience within your business as well as at home, and we're trying to manage that. We no longer have cash for capital. We no longer have the ability to make positive increases within our fund balance, and in many ways, our budget for about a 3-year period becomes paralyzed. We're not able to make the significant investments we need into capital, into our operations, into our people, and it begins to take its toll. Property tax. Property tax historically for the city of Kingsport has represented anywhere from 42 to 50% of our revenue. It is our leading revenue source, next to sales tax, which comes in, roughly around 24, 25 million a year. When you look at this chart, there's several things here that kind of paint the picture of where we found ourselves as we moved into fiscal 26. You see the 12-cent tax increase that was done in the spring of 22 for the fiscal 23 budget. During that time, we spent a lot of time working with the board, working internally from a finance standpoint to look at where our projections would be. We asked a lot of questions, we did a lot of analysis, and we felt good about where we were going with our revenues. We felt good about where we would be come spring of 2025 as we prepared the fiscal 26 budget. Every 2 years, there is a ratio appraisal. Always has been. Historically, it has been a blip on the radar. In fact, in many situations, you don't even realize it has occurred. But this year, this time 2 years ago was very different. In fact, it caught every city and county by surprise across the state of Tennessee. And if you were a city like the city of Kingsport, which is an industrial city, you have a lot of personal property tax, and that is what the ratio appraisal is in place for, is to adjust the personal property tax based upon how real property is moving. And we all know real property has moved tremendously in a positive direction in terms of value. We lost the largest percentage in the state of Tennessee. I mean, not the largest dollar amount, but the largest percentage. So our green line, which is where we thought we would be, went away. And we found ourselves dropping down where the red line depicts. So instead of looking at revenue that should be reflective and should be continuing to grow even without a tax increase, we're now back at 21, 22-year levels of revenue with expenses that are reflective of where we should be at the present day. So we had a lot of work to do in a very short amount of time. The board contemplated raising taxes. We evaluated a lot of different scenarios. We had just raised taxes 12 cents the year before. It would take 19 cents just to get us out of the hole with zero gain if we elected to go down that path. But at the same time, we're sitting on a tremendous amount of cash. The American Rescue Plan money has been issued. It's over $10 million. We've also got significant revenue coming in off of investments as interest rates have soared to try to battle inflation. We made a decision to not raise taxes at that time and to move in towards utilizing one-time revenue, this money that was present with us, in an effort to try to keep moving, with the hope that over the next couple years we would see positive growth that would be able to catch us back up. So we made a lot of adjustments. We took the money that had been dedicated towards resurfacing, we moved that into the budget. Why? Because it was reoccurring dollars. You balance your budget with reoccurring dollars. You don't balance your budget with fund balance. We then moved over and took money that was one-time dollars and we put towards one-time capital expenses. So a lot of that one-time money then went into paving. But during this time, inflation continues to nip at our heels. And at the same time, we continue to see wage inflation take place. We continue to see tremendous amounts of strain being placed upon our operations in terms of personnel and the ability to attract and retain based upon what our wages were compared to others. There were cities all across the state having to make adjustments during this 2-year period just to try to maintain where they've been with everything that they were being hit with. The reality came really as we moved into fiscal 24 that growth, while it was significant, was not going to make up a $3.8 million deficit. We were going to be faced with having to look at a tax increase. Why not cut? Why not make cuts? We'd made significant cuts in fiscal 20. Many of you all may remember the story that I told you about. We made the decision to pull back tremendously, several millions of dollars in 20. And we kind of held there. And what we built back was a much more efficient and much more streamlined operating budget. So if we made cuts, we were going to significantly, and I mean significantly, alter our level of service. We would no longer be competitive compared to the cities around us. So we looked long and hard, and we came to the conclusion that we needed to make budget adjustments to focus on 3 areas. One of the things when I was in graduate school that John Campbell taught me as my professor, and yes, that's where it all goes back to. If there's anything wrong, you can blame John. I was just a student. I didn't know any better. You need to identify where the revenue goes. It needs to be tangible. You raise a fee, you increase a tax. Where is it? What does it look like? Where can I see it as a citizen? So the board honed in on 3 specific areas. The first was critical infrastructure. Every city must stay on top of infrastructure demands and needs. If not, you will not be in a position to catch up quickly. We had to restore the dollars that had been dedicated to resurfacing. This was a no-brainer in so many different ways because we were significantly behind on paving. And then we had to invest into our people. We had to make a conscious effort to become competitive again. And so these 3 areas were where the dollars went when we made the decision to raise taxes. So let's look a little bit more into that. Our sustainable paving plan. Prior to 2017, we were on a 75 to 100 year repaving cycle. Think about that. The road has a greater chance of returning back to dirt than it did to get paved. We had to make some adjustments. The AEP franchise fee came in, and since then we have done a tremendous job in getting ourselves back to a level where we are now probably on a 20 to 25 year cycle. Don't get me wrong, we still have a lot of work to do, but we're working diligently using data, using new technology to help us understand what needs to be paved now and then what can wait a couple more years. We've broken these areas into segments, and our public works team does an outstanding job. We're also managing our dollars very efficiently. We're utilizing state and federal pass-through dollars that allow us to get a road paved, a significant road like Meadowview Parkway or Clinchfield, with 80% of the funds coming from the state of Tennessee with a 20% local match. It has made a huge difference in our ability to keep these roads maintained, and it is a good position for our city to be in, as it shows extremely well. Infrastructure. This is an area, as I mentioned earlier, we have to make critical investments in. $10 million was set aside in terms of what we would look at for a capital bond in the upcoming bond issuance. I anticipate those bonds probably somewhere in the January, February timeframe. When you look at where those dollars are going, we're going in to rebuild roads. So sections of Watauga Street are going to be rebuilt. Intersections that have seen tremendous improvement in terms of what is going on around them are going to be rebuilt. So Jesse and Memorial there at the mall and Ross and Robinson Middle School. Also at the same time, we're looking at making improvements to Eastman Road and Jack White. Again, an intersection that has seen a tremendous amount of change over the years with redevelopment. We're also working on bridges, Clinchfield Street Bridge, and then the Eastman Road Bridge over Lincoln Street. We're focusing on our facilities by providing our schools with $3 million to go into the new HVAC unit at George Washington. And at the same time, we're setting aside dollars to continue to design work for our new elementary school, which we'll talk about later. Just as we are making improvements into our infrastructure, we're also making significant improvements into what is arguably the most precious asset that we manage for you as a city, and that is your utilities. Greater than 50% of these budgets go back into capital improvements with a huge focus on growth, reliability, and reinvestment. That is across all 3, so stormwater, wastewater, and water. And our departments do an outstanding job. Nikki Enzer, who is our utility director, her and her department continue to be recognized at the very highest level for the work that they are doing in this field. And then our people. This was the area that, as a board, we had a lot of conversations about. Wage inflation is something I know we all have experienced and we are all seeing. Neighboring cities did mid-year tax increases just to address wages. At one point, our police department was down 19 officers. Our operations have seen vacancies upwards of 60 to 65 vacancies. We're in an uber competitive market. We are in a position where we are having to compete for individuals to come work for us. We are competing against other municipalities. We're competing against the private sector. And so it has been extremely challenging. But again, and you've heard me say this before, and my staff will repeat it as I say it, we are a service-based industry. Without people, we cannot perform the services at the level that you expect. It is that simple. And so we had to make a critical investment here. It was, in many ways, and has been a game changer in helping us right the ship and getting many of these vacancies filled, which then allow us to better deliver the services that I know you expect. Talk a little bit about the Kingsport spirit. The mayor mentioned that. We're all familiar with this quote. This quote now hangs on all 6 floors of City Hall and in every city building. When I sit down and meet with every single new hire that comes on board with the City of Kingsport, I talk about this. I don't know that there is a quote that better defines who we are as an organization or who we are as a city than this quote by J. Fred Johnson. It is something that we have grown to embody, something that we have grown as to really reflect in all aspects of what we do. A couple years ago, I wanted to begin recognizing individuals within our workforce that embody the Kingsport spirit. I felt that was important for a host of reasons. One, the employee needed to be recognized, plain and simple. But also, I wanted to be able to recognize this individual in front of the next generation that's coming in behind them. I wanted these individuals to see the culture that we have, the culture we believe in, and the culture that these individuals that are on our workforce go after each and every day. So we started going around and asking questions of managers and leadership team members. We need nominations, but the nominations can't come from us. They have to come from the peers. I want the individual that is working with them, sees this act of kindness, act that is reflective of the Kingsport spirit. I want them to recognize and to nominate. So literally every month, I sit down and I go through a list with our leadership team, and we look at these individuals. And then I have the privilege of going to them and thanking them in front of their entire workforce for the work that they've done. It has been little things from staying after hours to help an employee that was struggling. Big things such as stopping to help someone fix a bike, going out of their way to help someone on a route get groceries into their house. But they are the things that make us who we are. They are the employees that I know you are proud of, and so am I. Maybe the biggest example of the spirit of Kingsport is Hurricane Helene. Reflecting back on this a year later has been very eye-opening. I think maybe in the midst of everything that was going on, we didn't really step back and take a look at it. But one of the things that I was actually here for a Tennessee City Managers Conference, and we had several cities doing a presentation on the impact of Helene, and so there were cities and counties from right here in Northeast Tennessee. And what I heard over and over again was, we couldn't have done this without the city of Kingsport. And I was thinking, okay, you're here at Meadowview, I appreciate that, But no, the reality was they were very serious. We sent people to Johnson County to help with water treatment. We had our fire department in Unicoi in Washington County for weeks on end in search and rescue. We were in Elizabethton with something that seems so simple as a certified forklift operator to move pallets of water so that Elizabeth and the city employees could go home and go to bed. We were installing water lines seemingly overnight to connect neighboring utility districts so that they would have water. We were sending flusher trucks to clear bridges so that they could be reopened because they had so much mud piled up on them they were not passable. Those were the things that embodied the Kingsport spirit. Those were the things that made you and made me proud that these were our city employees. Strategic plan. I'm going to go ahead and tell you, going from talking about our employees to strategic plan is a big letdown. All right? So just bear with me. It has been 20 years since the last time the city of Kingsport sat down and looked at a strategic plan. We have looked at the plan from 20 years ago often. In fact, probably Larry Muncie was on the board when we last looked at that, and Mayor Jeanette Blazer as well. But we've opened that plan, we've looked at it, we referred to it often over the last 20 years, but as I told the board going into last year, it's time to redo this plan. We have sat too long on the old plan. We need a new vision for where we want to go in the next 20 years, or next 3 to 5 years. So we sat down and I immediately told the board, I'm going to ask a tremendous amount of your time. Your board of mayor and aldermen, like most elected officials around here, are volunteers. They have jobs, they have families, and over the course of the last fiscal year, I asked a lot of their time. We spent well over 100 hours working on this. We put the draft report together. We sat down with our consultant, and we said, we want to push this out to the public. We want to see what kind of feedback we get. Are we on the right track? Have we missed something? Consultant said, yes, perfect, let's do that. Hey, you probably get about 400, 450 responses. I said, no, this is Kingsport. We'll get way more than that. Over 2,000 respondents came back on the survey. 2,000 people living here in Kingsport, working here in Kingsport, and of the 2,000 that responded, 89%, think about that, said you got it, you nailed it. That's exactly where we want to be. That's exactly what we need to be doing. And so from there, we began to put together the plan. We set a new mission and vision. The mission, which is inward looking at what our employees do. We serve our community, we're building for the future. Every single city employee can look at that mission statement and say, that is exactly what I do. Each and every day, I'm getting up and I'm providing a service, and the work that I do is building for the future. Our vision statement cemented where we have been for 100 plus years, while at the same time looking out onto the horizon and saying, we want to be the place for you to work, raise a family, live, and play. We want that to be here in Kingsport, and that was reflective in this. We set our values up, values that we have lived by and worked by forever. We reaffirm those as safety, people, integrity, responsibility, innovation, and teamwork. In all aspects of what we do, these values come true. And then we set 7 focus areas up. And those 7 focus areas reflect efficient and responsible government, sustainable infrastructure, safe and welcoming community, thriving local economy, exceptional cultural and recreational opportunities, a strong, vibrant neighborhoods, and world-class education. Each one of those focus areas has goals. Each one of those goals has been assigned to a city employee, and we are working to try to bring those to life. This document will guide our operations, it will guide our capital investments, and it will further define who we are as a city and how our partners work with us as a city. I encourage you, take time to look through this strategic plan. You can find that in the book in front of you. It's also on our website, but it's a very good document that I think does a great job of really giving you the roadmap for the next several years. So let's talk about some of the projects that we're working on. Our dental clinic continues to really exceed expectations and continues to move forward on our vision of having the largest training site in the state of Tennessee outside of Memphis. Right now, we are in a master plan phase. We are working with all of these partners you see highlighted on the screen to develop a vision for this property as well as the property around it for the next several years. We are really working on a project that has the gas pedal mashed all the way to the floor. We are on a tight time frame. Officials from UT Health Science Center will be here next week to address our board. They're looking to significantly increase their students by 2027. They want to see additional programming offered here by 2029. That may seem like a long time. Trust me, it is not, and we have a lot of work ahead of us in order to meet those goals. Our library is now under construction, and we are well on pace to having the most modern library in the region. This is a project that has been long overdue. We have made some efforts over the years to try to do some modernization, but this is a significant overhaul with a huge emphasis on children, as it should be, but also an emphasis on attracting people into our downtown. We want people to come into our library, and when they're here, we want them to walk up and down the street, go in the shops, eat in the restaurants. Blue Cross Blue Shield Healthy Place. An $8 million investment into the city of Kingsport to create a very modern park right on the Greenbelt. The great thing about this is the fact that the city of Kingsport's not had to invest any money into this. This has been a grant that we received, which is 100%. Many of the folks in this region were very instrumental. Miles Burdine was also one of those individuals that's very instrumental in helping us secure an ultra-competitive grant that we were very fortunate to be able to get. We continue to diversify our efforts at Bays Mountain Park. Fox Den Playground is a privately funded effort to create a really exciting playground at this park. One of the things that when you've been with the city of Kingsport for 28 years like I have, I remember when we had conversations about this 20 years ago, and it was, no, that's not who we are. That's not what we do. That's not what the park is intended for. But new ideas, new visions, new staff, new leadership has driven us to think outside the box and to create things that further the experience, and you're going to see a lot of that at the park. Our Justice Center. I know several county commissioners are here, and I greatly appreciate the fact that you all stepped up and helped us with this project. Over $14 million is going into a complete overhaul and expansion of the Justice Center in downtown Kingsport. This is a facility that houses our courts, which will be modernized, as well as our sheriff's office, and as well as the Kingsport Police Department. We're still some time away, as it'll more than likely be the summer of 2027 before this is done. But we will modernize our courtrooms, we will improve safety and security, and in doing so, we'll officially move out of Old City Hall, which will lead us to looking at what becomes of that space or that property. Main Street. I think I've talked to you all about this with the exception of last year for probably the last 6 or 7 years. At one point, Alderman George said, would you just go park a bulldozer out there so that people think we're going to do something? And I truly thought about it. It is not quite done, but it is very much nearing completion. This has been a great project, 30 plus years in the making. When I came to the city of Kingsport in 1997, we were talking about the fact that we really needed to rebuild Main Street. We were talking about improving our gateways. We were talking about the things that we needed to do to improve downtown. This was a challenging project. There is nothing pretty about going in and rebuilding a street. If you haven't been downtown on Main Street, I encourage you to do so. More importantly, I encourage you to go into the businesses along Main Street and support them and thank them, not just as individuals, but as companies. They endured this with us, and they should receive a tremendous amount of thanks and praise for doing so. What we have in return is a beautiful roadway that is also leading to economic development opportunities along that roadway. Seth Kincaid is remodeling the old Kingsport Grocery for retail and residential space. In addition to that, Seth is in a design phase right now for the old Citizen Supply Lumberyard, those of you who remember that, to bring in a new residential development there. Next to him is Marvin Egan, who is making significant improvements to the old warehouse. This is actually the old office space of Citizen Supply. This is an absolutely beautiful space. When Marvin purchased this property and kind of talked to us about what he wanted to do, he far exceeded any of the expectations that we have, and really bringing back a lot of the character of what that building originally looked like. Technology. I could probably talk for the next 4 hours on just how far behind we are in this field. We literally have software in place within the city of Kingsport that probably 2/3 of our staff are operating on a daily basis that was installed before they were even born. And it's true. We are going to have to make significant investments in this area. We have no other choice. And when I say significant investments, this doesn't mean we're going down to Office Depot and buying a box of software off the shelf for $59.99 and installing it. This is multi-million dollars. This is in many ways like trying to turn a battleship in a bathtub in order to get where we need to be. Decades of data has got to be converted. New software has got to be installed. We have to train. We have to do a lot of things to get there. The first thing that we are rolling out is our new customer information system. This will be how you interface with us for billing, specifically for utility billing. I was talking to Miles about this the other day, and he was telling me he had a water leak. Didn't realize it till he got his bill. Well, now with this software, you can sit there and put parameters in terms of what your consumption would be and see that data in real time so that you are going to know when you are exceeding that. You're also going to have the ability to pay your bill from your couch in the evening. There's a lot of great things that are going to come with this. Our ability to interface with you as our customer is probably the biggest. One of the things we talked about in our strategic plan was artificial intelligence, AI. How do we venture into this as a government? Cautiously, yes, but what do we need to do? We recognize the fact that our customers may not have the ability Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, to have a conversation with us about something associated with their utilities. So we're beginning a pilot project with Grace AI. No, Grace is not a real person. Grace is AI. But we are going to be installing this in an effort to test and see how this works. You will have the ability 24/7, 365 to call in. You'll be able to hear information regarding your account or information that may be in regards to a water outage. During the day, if we see that this needs to have a real live human interfacing with it, it'll have the ability to move that over. There's a booth set up outside the conference room here where you can get a feel for that. We're excited about what it might be. We see this as a great opportunity for us, but we're going to do this test run first, and we'll be interested to see how that goes. Economic development. I asked the staff when they were putting this together to reflect this slide as puzzle pieces. Economic development is a puzzle. It takes all of us working to try to put it together. We focus a lot on downtown housing, retail, and industry, but the reality is there's aspects of economic development that are not even reflected here. A lot of what we talk about with quality of life can be placed into this. A lot of what we talked about with streetscape or work on Main Street, that can be tied back into economic development. This past year, we added some tools to our toolbox. And the reason we did is because we have two individuals that work within our economic development office. Right now, we're working on a project that hopefully here in the next few weeks, you're going to hear a lot more about. On average, that project is probably consuming somewhere in the neighborhood of 50 to 60 hours a week. In order for us to continue to be aggressive, we needed to bring people on board that could help us do so. So we added two companies to assist with the company Buxton, who does data analytics and has for some time. We brought on Golden Shovel and Retail Coach. Golden Shovel is a marketing arm for us. They are constantly out here promoting City of Kingsport economic development opportunities. The goal is how do we get our city in front of someone, or how do we have property that maybe we can get in front of someone. They specialize in getting our information in the right hands. The same is true with the Retail Coach. This is a company that we are utilizing, quite honestly, to make cold calls. But they're very strategic in those cold calls, and the fact that they are looking at the data that tells them these are the entities that we need to go after. These are entities that we can make work in Kingsport. The data shows that. And then they work to try to get that company partnered up with a local developer. We don't own land. We don't own the mall. We don't get to determine who goes on Stone Drive or who goes into Fort Henry Mall. But what we can do is take that private developer and give them data, give them companies, connect them with brokers, connect them with real estate folks within those groups to help make those connections. Both of these have been extremely valuable, and what it has allowed us to do is focus a tremendous amount of our attention on the big projects while we have our consultants working alongside us to make sure that these things that we know that we need in our city come to reality. I've told you before there's a four-letter word in economic development. It's called time. The questions that I've answered over the last few weeks have been in two categories: taxes and why'd they stop work on IMAX. They haven't. They're still moving. Stormwater work is going to begin here in a couple of weeks. New concrete pad is going to be poured and they'll be going vertical. They still have plans to be open in the summer of 26. This is a dynamic project for us. I'm excited about the opening. I'm excited about the fact that nobody can replicate this in the region. We have the rights to that, and I think this will be something that will continue to fuel economic development in and around this site. Brickyard, housing in general. People ask me, what kind of housing do you need, Chris? We need all housing, and our staff is constantly working to make that a reality. This week, we sent inspectors out to do footer permits for 4 houses here in Brickyard. I anticipate you're going to begin seeing that go vertical very soon. But in addition to Brickyard, we have over 1,200 houses that are in some phase of approved development. That doesn't mean that there's 1,200 houses coming out of the ground right now, but what that does mean is that we have sites approved and permitted, and we're waiting on the developer to make the move based upon the market. In queue, or in our inventory, there is another 1,200 that we know that we have had, we know because we've had pre-development meetings with the developers to begin looking at that. Single-family housing and the health of that is a great indicator of the overall health of your economy. While movement into our city has somewhat slowed, as it has everywhere, we still see a huge demand for housing. We still see a demand for new housing, and we're working with a variety of developers to help make that a reality. So let's look at some of the things that are on our horizon that you guys will be seeing in the news in the coming weeks and months ahead. Again, Bays Mountain Park, the otters are coming back. Hallelujah. We are currently out to bid for a new otter habitat funded through an LPRF grant that we've received. In addition to that, we're beginning design work for the new entryway into the Nature Center, and the grant will also allow us to do some work on the ground floor of the Nature Center to further enhance that. We will also be making investments at Scott Adams Skate Park as a result of this $2.9 million grant. Academic Village, and this great partnership that we have with Northeast State continues. You know, I look back at this vision that was cast over 25 years ago, and this property where it really all began, the idea that we would provide education, childcare, and transportation in one facility. Transit has moved out, and the goal has always been that once we moved out, we wanted to hand that property over to Northeast State. We're in the process of doing so right now. Northeast State has established an amazing satellite campus downtown focusing on manufacturing and medical, and I'm excited to see the investments that they will be making in these properties in the near future. We're building a new road. You've heard me talk in the past about Kingsport Eagles partnerships. This new state industrial access road is a partnership between the state of Tennessee, Eastman, and the city of Kingsport. Over $30 million will be invested beginning next year to build this road. It will open up over 150 acres of business and industrial land for development. This is an exciting project, a game-changing project for us, and we're very appreciative of Eastman and the state for wanting to make this happen. In the same tune, we're finally moving forward with the build-out of Memorial Boulevard. This will be in phases. First phase, primarily the phase in the city of Kingsport. When I came in to work with the city of Kingsport in 1997, I came into the transportation department. We were having a lot of conversations about Memorial Boulevard. I asked, is this a new project? Jeff said, oh no, we've been talking about it for the last 15 years. We're finally moving forward. The state has plans to bid that out later this year. It's a road rebuild. It will be an extensive project, somewhat like Main Street, but the safety and overall improvements will be significant for our city. Our partnership with Kingsport City Schools is unique. Dr. Hampton and I talk about this often. Maybe it's a therapy session for both of us, I don't know. But we have, and we've always had, this amazing relationship between City Hall and the Board of Education. It is really the cornerstone of who we are as a city. Next month, the Board of Mayor and Aldermen and the Board of Education will sit down and we'll begin having really in-depth conversations about this new school that has been, quite honestly, decades in the making for the Lynn Garden community. We're excited about what this looks like. I've had the opportunity to sit down and look at some of the early designs that are for this school. It'll be something that not only this community will be proud of, but something as a city that we will be very proud of. There's information at your desk regarding Kingsport City Schools. I would strongly encourage you to spend some time looking at that. We have a gym here. We've always known that. But take some time to flip through that and look at just how successful our school system is and what that means to us in so many different ways. I'll leave you with this. If you're not connected with us, please do so. How we get information today is dramatically different than what it was 10, 15, 20 years ago. Please be connected within our social channels. Please follow us. Get information about what's taking place in the city of Kingsport. I thank the Board of Mayor and Aldermen, the city staff, and everybody that has made us who we are today. Our partners, our sponsors that are here today. This is what makes our city great, is all of you to allow us to get to talk about the great things that you see here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Have a great day. Thanks, sir.
I don't know if anybody else noticed. But he did that side of me. There's not even anything laying up here.
I got one.
Man, I am impressed. I just don't know what to say. I don't know about y'all. What I heard is, I love this place. So let's all say it. I love this place.
I love this place.
I love this place. Be prepared. This is why I go way off script, okay? way off script. I would like for the board to stand. Any city employee that's here to please stand. Any city employee also please stand. Let's recognize these folks. Okay, Nick, even further off script. I don't know the process. I've never really even seen the process till today. If all the city employees and the board would stand back up, I'm sorry. I meant to tell you that first. This is your exercise for the day. You can go back and do whatever you do the rest of the day. I don't know the process, and I really didn't know about the process until I saw it today in this presentation. But as a citizen of Kingsport, I would like to nominate Chris McCart for the Kingsport Spirit Award. I can't think of hardly any other person that embodies the spirit of Kingsport as much as Chris McCart. He is a true gem for the city of Kingsport. So the board and you city employees, if you agree with me, answer by responding yes. Yes. So Chris, whatever it takes.
Hey, thank you.
I think you need to
Appreciate it, bud.
Kingsport Award.
Thank you, sir.
I am so proud to be a citizen of Kingsport. We do live in a truly great and wonderful place. So I hope you all have enjoyed today. Just a few more things, and I'm going back on script next so your heart can start again. There you are. Most importantly, or I shouldn't say most importantly, but importantly, let's please have a round of applause for our sponsors, Appalachian Power, AT&T, Ballot Health, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Tennessee, Bowery Insurance, Bright Ridge, Cardinal Glass, Charter Communications, Domtar, D.R. Horton, Eastman Credit Union, and associate sponsors Horizon Credit Union and Tri-City Military Affairs Council. So thank you all very much. Our newest Kingsport Spirit Award winner, Mr. McCart, thank you very much. Mayor Montgomery, thank you very much. Excellent, excellent presentations. Back off script. Miles, would you like to close us out, please?
Please keep your seats. That worked. It's supposed to be funny. Mayor, do you have any of your coins? Okay. We've actually, okay. Chamber had some coins made that on the front it says, I love this place. And on the back it has a shortened version of the J. Fred Johnson quote. And our mayor has been handing those out. Greg Perdue's been handing some out, and some of the other aldermen have been handing some out. Darrell comes over every day just about and asks for 5 more. So, Chris, I'd like to give you a bunch that you can hand out to his employees when you recognize, and give yourself one too while you're at it. By the way, he didn't have any notes because he's been practicing for a year for what he said today. So I'm getting lots of humor today, aren't I? Last thing I wanted to say is take these and not only read them yourself, but take it home and read it to your spouse. I don't know how many times I've gone home and tried to tell my wife what's going on in the city of Kingsport, and she says, well, when are you going to tell me that? And I said, well, I just did. That pissed her off. But we've been closing all of our board meetings, all the Kingsport Economic Development Board, and all those boards, all those committees that we all serve on. So we are privileged to have this information. We get to hear what's going on. But our friends, our families, probably do not, and we take it for granted. So we've been closing each one of our meetings. I'm going to close this meeting same way. Take at least 5 things that you heard today, 5 positive things that you heard today, and take it home to your friends and your family and share them. Don't just keep it inside. Don't just keep it in your heart. Take it to your friends and family's hearts too. And you'll be proud, and they'll be proud. And last thing I want to say, and by the way, these things they're available all over the place. Take a bunch of them home, stick them in your friends' mailboxes. And then make sure they read it. So thank you for today. Thank you to the Kingsport Chamber staff, to the City of Kingsport staff for putting this on, Nicole and Madison, particularly from our group, and Adrienne and her staff did a great job, and Mayor and Chris, thank you so very much, and Tom, thank you for allowing me to close this out. So go enjoy your day. Spread the good word. Thank you.